All right. Welcome, everybody, to the Nail Your Niche and Become Unforgettable to Your Audience Masterclass. I am so excited that you are here. You can go ahead and say hi in the chat. And if you are watching this on the replay, send me a comment, send me a DM, let me know that you listened to it. And if you have any questions that come up for you during our time together doing this, just let me know. I'd be happy to answer any of those questions and help you get really clear and specific for what your niche is and put you in a position so that you're able to stand out and market yourself online by really talking to the right people. So I talk to so many people that are not sure which niche they should pick for their marketing, who they want to actually talk to. So today's training is going to break it down for us so that we're able to get really clear and specific in each of those different sections as we go through it. So let's dive in. So the workshop is broken up into 3 sections. So the first section is going to be the 6 areas to focus on to become clear on what your niche is so that you can start attracting clients. So we're going to dive really deep into those 6 areas. And this is a working workshop too. So grab a pen, grab a piece of paper, and work through this with me as you're going through it. You should be able to uncover and nail your niche by the end of today's workshop is how I have it designed so that you can get very clear and specific for who you want to talk to. So you won't have to do any homework after this. You should be good to go so that you can start marketing yourself. And then we're also going to talk about what parts of your story to share and why they are the key part of connecting with your audience. If you've been following me for any amount of time, you know that storytelling is one of the secret ingredients, I feel like, to showing up. And it's one of my superpowers for helping my clients really uncover what their story is so that they can set themselves apart from the competition. Because the one thing that makes you different from everybody else who's out there doing what you do, it's your story. And then we're also going to work a little bit on your messaging tonight. I want to make sure that you leave this class with a little bit of clarity for how you can actually take this new marketing message that you create and actually use it either in a social media post on your website. You can use it if you're a guest expert on a podcast. We're going to create a framework that helps you to be kind of like the core messaging for your business, for how you introduce yourself. If you were to go to a cocktail party, which I know we don't get to do a lot right now due to COVID, but if you were to walk into a room and somebody asked you, hi, how are you? Who are you and what is it that you do? You have a really clear message that you can share with them that helps them understand exactly what your niche is, who your ideal clients are, what their problems are, and how you're the solution to solve those problems. So we're going to be able to dive into all of that tonight. All right. So what do you need? I already mentioned it, I think, but you just need a piece of paper and a pen and your journal. If you are technology driven, you could also open up a Google Doc and just write down the questions as we go through them and answer them right in a Google Doc. But my goal for you today, like I said, is to make sure that you're clear on what's going on for you in your business so that you can take this and move forward. All right, so to niche or not to niche, that is the question. And you might not say it niche. You might have heard it as niche. It's niche or niche. I don't really know the right way to say it. I think it feels fancier to say niche. So I say niche for my business, but you can call it niche interchangeably. But so many people always ask me this question, Darlene, do I need to pick a niche? Do I need to get that detailed and descriptive when it comes to marketing my business? And early in my business, I probably would have said, no, it's okay. You can talk to a broader audience. But the longer that I've been in business, the more clients that I've worked with, the more people that I've talked to, it's imperative that you have a niche and that you know specifically who it is that you are going to help. So if you don't have a niche yet, or if you're not 100% sure, you're a little bit wavery when it comes to your niche, we're going to walk through that today so that you can have a niche so that you can move forward. So creating your niche is some of the most important work that you can do in your business. It's so important that you get it right. And it takes a bit of time sometimes to get really clear for yourself on what your niche is. If you have ever struggled with creating a niche, go ahead and put in the chat and let me know if this is something that you've struggled with before, or if you feel like you are clearer, but you're not 100% sure on like how to word it to put together. Let me know that as well. And it needs to be simple. So when you're niching down, I want this to be as simple and authentic to you as possible. You need to know who you feel comfortable working with. You need to be able to show up as yourself and not anybody else. And when you get clear on what your niche is, it makes it that much easier for you to show up as you. You're able to clearly communicate what it is that you do without being completely aligned with who you truly are, or it makes it so that you are completely aligned, with who you truly are. And it also gives you the ability to connect with your ideal clients, with your audience, the people that you are supposed to work with, your dream clients. So the more specific and clearer you are in your messaging, they know that you're talking to them. That's the beautiful thing. When you say specifically who it is that you work with, people listen. It perks up their ears, kind of like a dog, right? Like it makes their ears perk up a little bit when you say their name or when you call their attention to them. That's how your clients are too. They're like, oh, wait, she's talking to me right now. I need to pay attention. I need to listen. They lean in a little bit more. They're more curious. They want to learn more from you when you pique that interest. And yeah, so reading in the chat, like you're clearer since working with me, which I love. Thanks, Gladys. It's definitely something that when you can get support around building your niche, it makes it so much easier to show up and really determine who it is that you want to talk to. So I'm so glad that you feel clearer after working with me. All right, so for those of you that don't know me, my name is Darlene, and I'm an online business coach and personal branding expert. I specialize in helping you build your brand, create client attraction marketing, as well as authentically selling yourself so that you can grow your business. That's kind of the specialty that I work with my clients. My goal is to help you make a revenue generating business and a profitable business so that you can do the things that you love, have more freedom in your life, have more flexibility, showing up and doing what you love to do, and not feel like you're trapped in a position or in a place that you don't want to be. So that's one of the things that I love to do. And when I started my business, it was really, really challenging for me the first 2 years, if I'm being completely honest. I had been trained by the world's largest business coaching franchise back in 2007. And it was an intense training. I went to training for almost a solid 2 weeks, where I lived at a hotel and we met every single day for like volleyball first thing in the morning at 6 a.m. all the way through at 10 p.m. We would break from our training for the day and head to the bar and have a couple of drinks, take a quick rest, and then back at it the next day. So my training was super intense, and I left feeling like I was on top of the world. I felt like I was on fire, like I could help every single business owner in the whole entire world. I was like, I can do this. It doesn't matter who you are. If you have a business, I'm trained. I have all the tools in my toolbox now to support you. And that's kind of where I feel like I got it wrong. So yes, technically I could work with anybody, and I was trained to help business owners in pretty much every different industry that there was out there. The framework and the formula that I was taught was kind of like a rinse and repeat type training, where I could work with attorneys, landscapers, grocery stores, retail stores, boutiques, photographers, coaches, consultants, designers, pretty much all these different industries. And I did that in the beginning. I was working with a lot of different types of clients. And the problem is that I was so broad in who I was marketing to that nobody was really paying any attention. I wasn't clear in my messaging. I wasn't clear on for myself even what my niche actually was. And I struggled because of that. So I struggled with my marketing. I struggled with my messaging. I was so broad that my ideal clients did not even know I was talking to them. And I almost quit. I almost walked away from what is still to this day my life purpose, to empower entrepreneurs to gain the confidence and the clarity in their personal brand and business by sharing their unique life story. I almost walked away from that. After 2 years, I ended up leaving the franchise that I had signed on with. And a few months later, I kind of hit rock bottom. Like I was depressed. I was sad that I was no longer doing the work that I loved, and that I had walked away from a franchise and I lost a ton of money during that process. But a couple months later, I found myself just in a place where I was journaling, and I sat down and I journaled for hours, and put all my thoughts and ideas and my dreams and my goals. And I kind of started digging into who it was that I actually wanted to work with. And I uncovered what types of clients I had worked with before and which ones felt really good to me and which clients were okay, but they weren't like my dream clients. Um, and it was during that process that I created the framework that I'm actually going to share with you guys today on this training to uncover what your niche is and get really clear so you can nail it down and stop having to second guess yourself and stop feeling like you can't get it right. You're not sure who you're talking to and people are missing that messaging. So I want to be able to help you get clear on what your why is, what it is that you love doing, what skills do you already possess that are part of who you are, and then also what pieces of your story matter, and then what things about your industry can you take a stand for. Those are the things that I journaled on, and I asked myself really deep, hard questions. Almost 11 years ago is when I did this. So I'm going to go through that framework with you guys today so that you can create a revenue generating business that you love, and you can do it in 30 hours a week or less with ease and not feel like you have to keep staying on this hamster wheel that I know so often we can get stuck on. So that's a little bit about my story and kind of how I came to do this work. But let's dive in. I want this class to be a working workshop for you so that you can dive into these different 6 pieces that we're going to talk about in a minute, and really dive into it for you of what that's going to look like. What things about your life, your experiences, your quirks, your personality, your skill set, all of those things play into you picking the perfect niche so that you can show up every single day doing the work that you love. All right, so step 1 is finding your soul purpose. What is your soul purpose? So think for a second about what your why is. What are the top 5 reasons that you started this business? Go ahead and journal these prompts as we're going through them too. So you can also put them in the chat if that feels good for you as well. But what is your sole purpose? Why did you start this business? Why are you here doing this work? Putting in all these long hours and this time and this energy into growing a business. What is it that you would like to accomplish? And then also think, what is your special gift that you can only deliver? There's a lot of people out there that do the same type of work that we do, but what's special and unique about you and the purpose and the mission of you starting your business? And what is the purpose behind providing this service? So the service that you're offering, what's the purpose behind it? Because saving memories is important to me, and knowing others. Yeah, I love that. And because you want to earn an income to support your family. Absolutely. That was definitely one of the pieces that resonated for me when I started my business, is I wanted the freedom and the flexibility to be home with my kids more. When I started my business, at the time, I was only a mom of 1, and I was working retail management prior to that. And I was missing so many of those important things that I just was beating myself up. I had like mom guilt when I was at work, and when I was at work, or when I was home with my son, I had like all the stuff that I should be doing at work that needed to be done because I had a very demanding, high stress job. And it never felt like it was a perfect harmony. It always felt like it was this or this. It was never an and. It was always, I wasn't being a good mom and a good retail manager. I was only being, I was dividing my time up, and it didn't feel good. Oh yeah, and I don't want a soul sucking job with an employer. Yeah, been there, done that. It's so nice to work for ourselves so that we don't have to work with other people. Yeah, and needing the freedom to live your own schedule on your own time, in your own terms too, right? Like, this is our lives. We get to create it the way that we want to. And I think most entrepreneurs can relate to that. When we start our businesses, we do this for us because we know we can do more. We know we can be more. So really dig into what is your soul purpose. And Simon Sinek has a quote that says, people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. So share that why in your marketing and your messaging as you're putting yourself out there. We're going to use this part of the exercise for uncovering your niche today, but you can share this as part of your marketing strategy, as part of how people connect and relate to you, because people want to know who you are and they want to know why you're showing up and doing the work that you do and why you support it. Yeah. And because people look to me as a leader. Yeah. That's a great reason. That's a great purpose to have, is to show up and be the leader that people know that you already are. So awesome. So that was step one. So getting clear on your soul purpose. And now we're going to dive into your skills. So this is one of my favorite sections, because when I started my business, I discredited pretty much everything that I had ever accomplished in my whole entire life, from my past career, from my younger days, all of those different things, because I felt like I'm in a new industry. I'm a business coach now, and I'm brand new. And I have no skills, no qualifications, nothing that I can bring into this business other than what I've been taught already during my training. And I had this epiphany one night where I was like, wait a minute, I actually have a lot of skills and a lot of qualifications that will help me with my business that maybe I didn't learn as an entrepreneur, but I learned them in my past career. I learned them from going to college, from being in high school, from like all those life experience and those lessons. All of those skills and qualifications, they count. So I want you to think for a minute and make a list of every single skill that you've ever acquired in your whole entire life, whether it was self-taught, that you just love to research and you did a ton of research and you learned a lot about a topic, or maybe it's a topic that you love to teach and you've taught it before to other people, or people come to you and ask you questions about it all the time. But think about, what are people coming to you for advice on? What are you an expert in? What's your expertise? And this could be degrees that you've gotten in school, so college, different things like that, but it could also be from your past career. So in my past career, I was in retail management. I was the HR operations manager and trainer for the whole entire store. And I learned a ton. I knew how to take care of all of the front office administrative pieces of the business, from counting the cash to running the reports to creating schedules to looking at statistics for our sales. And I was in charge of putting together the actual schedules for the store for each department and cutting those expenses just as quickly when numbers weren't as high as we thought they were going to be, like sending staff home or calling staff in because we were busier than we had expected. And I had all of these life skills that I didn't even think about that I could use in my training today. And those are things that you can use when picking your niche, because these are things that you love to do. These are things that you enjoy doing. These are things that you know that you've done before. And yeah, so I'm seeing in the chat, detail-oriented, digging for answers when other people quit, sales training, teaching and education, leading groups of people. Yeah, being a leader in a group and being in charge of what other people are doing. Those are all skills that we discredit for some reason. Almost everybody I talk to discredits these past skills from our past lives. It's almost like we feel like we're starting this new chapter of our life and that everything else that's ever happened, like that door's closed. But I want you to think of that door, that part of your life might be closed, but there's still windows that are open and there's still rays of sunshine that are coming in. And you get to carry all of those life lessons and skills and trainings into who you are today. So write out all of your skills, everything that you can think of. And you might think of a few things even later today, like after the training, write those ones down as well. And then step 3 is what I call my sweet love. And you notice all of these have an S in there somewhere. And so I had to kind of reach on this one a little bit, because it used to say my love, but I wanted an S word in here because technically all 6 of these are all starting with the letter S, except for love, and I couldn't find another word. So I called it my sweet love, because your sweet love is all the things that you love to do, all the things that you enjoy doing, whether it's hobbies, activities that you love to do, people that you love to connect with, passionate things that you enjoy doing or things that connect to your passions, the things that don't feel like work for you because you just love doing these things. I want you to write those down. So what do you love to do every single day that helps you to stay lit up, inspired? It helps you want to wake up in the morning and you jump out of bed because you're so excited to go do it. Also in this category, like we're thinking hobbies, things that we enjoy, and passions, but also think of some of the quirks about yourself, the quirks that make you a little bit different, that make you stand out from what other people are doing. And write those down. So what are your sweet loves? What do you love doing? If you could do it all day long and not get paid for it, or get paid for it, which is what we want to do here, but what are those things that you love to do that even if you didn't get paid, you'd probably still show up and do it because you love it so much? So yeah, talking with others, hearing people's stories. Yeah, a lot of times we don't even realize that we love to do something. I love to cook. I'm passionate about being in the kitchen and finding new recipes and like tweaking things and doing different things in the kitchen. And I love to cook in the kitchen and like invite family and friends over and share that time together. So that's one of the things that I write down, and it doesn't necessarily apply completely to what I do today, but the connection piece of it does apply. So I'm a huge connector. I love to bring people together, whether it's for a meetup group or a mastermind or just coffee chats and conversations, going to networking events. Those are all things that are important to me in my business and have helped me identify what I want to do with my business. I love people. I love the one-to-one conversations almost as much as I love getting together with a small group. But I don't love ginormous, huge groups as much as I do those smaller in-person type things. So that has played a part in how I structure my business. So yeah, going shopping, detective work, on any subject, but especially family history. So yeah, diving into that family history piece and pulling those pieces, public speaking, getting yourself out on stage so that you're able to connect and build relationships in that way. Yes, I love that. So write down anything that you love to do, all your passions, all the things that maybe nobody else you think would care about, but just are things that you love to do. And yeah, giving gifts, that's a huge one. It shows that you're a giver and that you love to over deliver, and that can roll over into your business by creating like amazing, valuable content for your clients. So yeah, awesome. So keep those thoughts going. So think of all of those things that you love to do. And we're going to dive into step number 4, which is your strengths. So what are your strengths? I love to actually, this is kind of going to be like part homework assignment, part that you can do while you're on the training with me today, but I would love it for part of your homework if you would reach out to 5 to 10 people in your life. They could be past clients, colleagues, current clients, friends, anybody that knows you, and ask them, what do they feel are your top 3 best qualities? And then take that information, kind of put it all together. Like some of them might be the same, some of them might be totally different, but look at the list and see what are your top 3 common threads. And that is really going to help you identify what some of your strengths are. Sometimes it's really difficult for us to identify what our common strengths are because we're living our lives, right? A lot of times we don't see our strengths because they come so easy to us. They come so natural. We're so good at it because we've either self-taught ourselves or we've gone to school for it or we trained, and we discount that our strengths they're no big deal. Like it comes super easy to me. I'm really good at this. Like I love to help people. That's what people tell me all the time is one of my top strengths is I'm so giving and I'm always there for them and I will help anybody who needs help. But that I didn't really think of as a strength, right? I just wondered, well, okay, I'm really good at building relationships and connecting with people, and I like to help and I like to give, but I didn't see that as a strength because it came so naturally to me. But when other people pointed that out to me, I was able to like have that light bulb moment and identify that this is something that I'm really good at. This is something that I can lean into and make it part of my brand, make it part of my business so that I can play to those strengths. And then think about adding the strengths that you know you're good at. So the first part of it is to ask other people, like, what are my strengths? But then also think about it for yourself. What are some of those things that you naturally do so well that you feel are one of your strengths? And just take a second, just lean into that. Like, what am I really good at? How can I support people? What do people come to me for? These are the things that you can start putting into your business to make you stand out more. These can be your part of your personality. They're your strengths. They're the quirks in your business that help you stand out and set yourself apart from other people. And yeah, so listening, that's a great strength. Connecting, community, giving gifts. Those are all great things that you can use to show up and to build relationships. And that these are things that you're good at, but maybe other people aren't. And that's kind of your secret sauce, right? Because just because when we're good at something, that's when other people come to us for support. That's when they reach out for us to help them identify those things. So yeah, listening, simplifying things. But this one takes a little bit more work because I think it's important to actually ask people too, because we have a blind spot to what our strengths are because we're living our lives, we're doing our thing. So take a little bit of time and reach out to some people and see what other people think your strengths are and write those in here. And then step 5 is your stance. So this one's a little bit trickier. And this one people often have a little bit of trouble with, but I really feel like it's very important that it's in here as you're uncovering what your niche is, because what is it that you stand for? What is your stance on life, on, I don't know, politics, on diversity, on inclusive? What are those things that happen in your industry that you're in that you feel like everybody else does something, but you feel like they're doing it the wrong way? Or what are some things that you can stand up for and stand with people in your business? What fires you up inside that is a cause worth spreading? So think about that for a minute. What are some things that you take a stance for? So one of the things in my business that I hear business coaches talk all the time about is how you have to work hard, you have to hustle. And the word hustle literally makes my body like tight and stressed out, and like it feels super icky. And I feel like as a business coach that I'm really good at helping my clients create a step-by-step plan that's simplified, that allows them to show up and maximize the time that they have so that they don't have to hustle. They can do their business and grow their business with ease in a way that feels good to them. And we don't have to do all the marketing techniques and all the different things that we see other people doing. We don't have to do that. We can do it in a way that feels good for us, feels good in our gut. I'm very intuitive in that way. I like to think with my heart and my gut. And when I use my head too much, I doubt myself and nothing feels right and I do things in the wrong way. But that was a stance that I took with my business. And a lot of people disagree with me. A lot of people go, oh my gosh, Darlene, you're crazy. Like, how do you help your clients work 30 hours a week or less? They have to work 40, 60 hours a week because being an entrepreneur is hard work and it takes a ton of time and energy. And yeah, maybe it does a little bit more in the beginning, but once you get into the rhythm and into the routine and you're doing the things that feel good to you and light you up and make it easy for you to show up, you can create a system in your business that makes it super easy to get everything done so that you're not having to work tons of hours. Yeah, I'm seeing in the chat, the golden rules apply to everybody. Being a good human, having balance in your life, be there for others, but also for yourself. Absolutely. Yeah, you can It's setting those boundaries for yourself, right? So that you know how much you can give and what you can say yes to, and then also what you can say no to. I think one of the the hardest lessons I ever learned was that no is a complete sentence, and I don't have to justify or explain to other people when I say no, I can't do something. And prior, Darlene used to have to say yes to everybody and to everything until I was doing for everybody else, but nothing for myself because I had nothing left to give for me. Because I was the yes queen. I would say yes to volunteering on the PTA and helping a friend and doing this activity and doing this. And then by the end of the day, I was like, oh, wait, I'm still running a business. I still have things I have to do. And I had to get really strong in myself and realize, like, do I want to do this? Is it going to impact my business in a positive way? Is it going to be supportive for my family? Does it meet my values for what I want to do? And once I identified that most of the things I was saying yes to did not fall into those categories, and that I could start saying no, like, it felt so good to say no to something so that I could say yes to the right things. Oh yeah, and taking Sundays off as a family day, making it sacred. I absolutely love that. Yeah. And setting those boundaries so that you can have, like, we started a business. Most of the people that I attract start their business because they want to be able to spend more time with their family. That's one of my values. That's one of the things I talk about. And I attract those people. So yeah, if you want to spend time with your family and you want to do more of that stuff, then it's important that you build that into your business and you know what you take a stand for. So think about your industry. What's one thing that you can say or stand for that maybe goes against the grain a little bit from what your competitors, the other people who are in your industry, talk about all the time? So think about that and write that down. And then the last S, so step number 6, is your story. So your story is the one thing that you have going for yourself that completely obliviates all of the competition, because you are the only person who has this. It's your story, it's your life, it's your experiences, it's the things you've gone through, it's how you've seen them through the lens of your eyes. These are all the things that are so important to you. And it's important to share your story with your audience so that they can connect to you and feel like they've gotten a chance to know who you are. They can resonate with your mission, your vision, your values, those different things. And they can also sometimes not have gone through the same experiences that you've gone through, right? But they could see themselves in your story. So take a minute and think about your story. I want you to write down 2 to 3 stories that have been pivotal to where you are today and why you have the business that you have or the one that you want to start. So write out 2 to 3 stories and think of it like a point A to a point B. So I used to be here and now I'm here. And I used to do this and now I do that. Think of those 3 stories that you can use to share with your as part of your brand to identify and connect with and relate to your clients. And tap back into those stories, identify the 3 transitions. And then, so for me, part of my story was that I knew that I wanted to empower others to create a business and a life of freedom so that they could spend more time with their family doing what they love to do. That was part of my story, right? I've mentioned that a couple of times tonight in the training. It's on my website. I talk about it if I'm on somebody's podcast. But share those pieces of your story so people can resonate with you. They can relate to you. They can feel like they know who you are. And allow your mind to go really deep. Think of like specific moments when your course changed direction, or think of what happened and how you were changed because of that situation. And right now, these don't have to connect specifically to your business. I just want you to start getting your wheels turning for some of the possibilities of the stories that you can share. And then think too, like, what did I learn? Excuse me, I'm losing my voice. What did I learn from each transition? How were you changed from that transition? So for me, it was working retail management as a single mom, working 60 plus hours a week, to now being a mom of 4, having the freedom and flexibility to tuck my kids in bed every night, take them to their sporting events. Well, not right now because we don't have sporting events because of COVID, but before COVID, I was able to do those things. But think of what those transitions are for you and write those down. And then after you write those transition stories down, I want you to think, how does this relate to my ideal client? And yeah, I'm seeing in the chat, I know what it's like to long for tangible physical memories of family and not have anything to remember. Yeah, and when they're gone, yeah, absolutely. And having the ability to remember those memories. And then I found a way to save the memories I have now so future generations will have them too. Yeah, that's so beautiful. Those are pieces that you can share of your business. And now we're going to kind of pull that together. So there's a quote by Sarah Blankley. If you're not familiar with her, she's the lady who invented Spanx, which most of us women adore and love them. But she says, I think my story says that when women are given the chance and the opportunity, that we can achieve a lot, and we deliver. And I love that quote because it's so true. When we share our story, when we're given a chance and the opportunity to stand out and to shine, we can achieve a ton, and we also deliver on whatever that end result is for ourselves. So keep that in mind. Think of the women that have come before you that have done the unimaginable, things that they probably never in a million years thought they could accomplish, but they had a dream and a goal and a desire, and they put the work in, they put the time in, and they were able to build these amazing businesses. So 3 parts to determining who you want to serve in your business. And so I wanted to just add a slide in here about who you want to serve, because I think it's important that you think about, while you're putting your niche together, you're thinking about you and all of those 6 steps that we just went through. And you're also comparing that and adding that to your ideal client. So who are you and what do you stand? Who do you want to attract is tip 1. Then think about tip 2, which is who do they need and what happened or what keeps them up at night? What is it that they are struggling with? And then go out there and actually do the research. Like, you have to talk to ideal clients. You have got to go out there and have some real conversations to make sure that you're on track with the niche that you're building. So think about all of your skills, all of your experience, all the things that you've done. And when you look at that picture and lay it all out, who is it that you want to serve? For me, I used to say that I wanted to serve business owners, and that was super broad. And it was a lot of different types of people that I attracted with that messaging. And it was about 2.5 years later in my business when I really got clear on what my niche was. And I determined that I wanted to work with service-based online entrepreneurs. I wanted them to be ambitious people that had a big heart and a big desire to do things, to accomplish things. And then I also picked the word heart-centered. I want to work with heart-centered people that want to make an impact, people that want to have a ripple effect and leave a legacy for their life. And so now I say that I'm a business coach for ambitious, heart-centered, service-based online entrepreneurs. And that attracts the right people to me when I use that. And it repels the people that don't fall in that category as well, which is totally fine. We want to attract people to us, and we also want to push and repel those away from us as well. So go ahead and comment in the chat. Let me know how you're feeling about this. Is this making sense for you? Yeah. So it's so important that we identify what these things are. And yeah, a lot of people do struggle with the fact, like, what keeps our ideal clients up at night? And that's why I think it's so important to do that market research. And depending on your industry, you might not have it might not wake people up at 2:00 in the morning and make them worry about it all the time. It might just be the occasional thing that pops up in their mind when they're visiting with family, or when they're helping their children, or when they're going to work and they're doing that 9 to 5, or they're driving home and they're commuting. Like, what are those worries that they have? What is it they're thinking about? And how can you talk to those points in your marketing? And yeah, one of the questions in the chat: do you call people up? Yeah, absolutely. Call them up. Say, you probably know somebody who's maybe a friend or a family member who would be probably the perfect client for you. They probably would never actually come to you because you already know them, and sometimes that's just how those relationships are. But call them up and say, hey, can I buy you a cup of coffee? Or hey, can we catch up and do a 15-minute conversation? I would love to pick your brain. This is my business. This is what I'm doing. I actually think you would be a dream client for me. I know you're not interested in working with me, but do you mind if I pick your brain and just ask you a couple of questions? And take that information. The words that they use are gold when it comes to your messaging and your marketing. So yeah, that's such a great question. I think it's hard to imagine what our ideal client might be if we weren't a lot of people tell me that they were either they were their ideal client and we're just a few steps ahead of that, or they're starting an industry where they aren't sure exactly what some of the struggles might be, but they just have a big heart and a desire to help clients in that way. So now we're going to pull it all together so that we can create the messaging that will help you clearly nail what your niche is, and also say what it is that you do so that you can get people to have their ears perk up, lean in a little bit, and get more clarity with that. And yeah, so one of the questions in the chat is any other ways to do this research? So you can call people up. You can do a search. Type in on Google, go to Google and type in, let's see, benefits of whatever industry you do. So for you as a photographer, you could put in the thing like benefits of working with a family photographer, or benefits of working with whatever niche you think you might want to work in, photographer, and see what pops up, and take some of that information that you find from the internet and use that information as well. That's another great way that you can find out a little bit more about your niche. Another way too is to do some research on other people's websites. Find people who do similar work to what the type of work you think you want to do, and follow them on social media. Subscribe to their newsletter list. Reach out, have a conversation, introduce yourself, and say, hey, I'm very curious about the type of work that you do. I'm starting a business in this area. Do you mind if I pick your brain a little bit? A lot of people are willing to have those conversations, and they don't, like, as long as you don't come in and like tell them, say, I'm just want to ask some questions because I'm curious and I'm doing research for myself. They're going to be more willing to answer those questions. And you might run into a couple people too who say, oh, I'm not, I can't, you're the competition, I can't share this with you. But 9 out of 10 times people are willing to have those conversations. Go to associations, join your local association. So photography, you could join as an association for photographers and go to the monthly meetings and build those relationships and connect with people in that way. I connect a ton with business coaches. I don't look at any of them as competition directly, because we all are so unique and different in how we teach, and the life experiences and the stories that we have are also different, that we're going to each attract the right people to us. And in all reality, even though in the beginning of my business, I thought I could help everybody and anybody, I could never in a million years serve every single business owner in the world. That would be insane. I would be exhausted and I still couldn't even do it all. So most of us can only handle a set number of clients per month. So we only need to attract that amount of people to us. So let's pull it together. So I have my summary hook framework here to help you to put together how you would introduce yourself so that people can really understand who you are and who it is that you desire to help. So tonight we're identifying what our niche is. And so the first part of the summary is easy. Your name, your title for your business. The next part is who you help. This is your niche. This is where I say I work with ambitious, heart-centered online entrepreneurs? Who is it that you desire to help? Fill that in here from what you've uncovered. Look at all your skills, what you stand for, your strengths, what your sweet love is, your soul purpose. Pull all of those things together. Look at what you mapped out and see where there's the common denominators and what it is that you want to really truly show up and do, and pull all of that together. And then you can go in and fill in the rest, which is what is your client's immediate struggles? And then what is the solution that you provide? And then what is the big goal or dream for that client? What is that big goal or dream? So go ahead and fill that in. And I'm going to put an example up for you. So this is actually a client that I worked with. This is the summary hook that we created for her. Her niche was busy single moms. That was who she decided was her niche, busy single moms. And then she helps them to create passionate income by using her signature workflow system so they can spend more time with their families and less time worrying about their money needs. And if you get yours written out, if you want to share it in the chat, please feel free to. Or if you have questions afterwards, let me know that as well. So now that you've uncovered your niche and you've gotten some clarity tonight about the 6 S's and what your story is, now it's time to go out there and share your messaging with the world. Let people know who it is that you are, what you do, how you support them, how you help them, and how their lives are going to change so that you can make a difference in this world, so that you can make the impact for the sole purpose that you're here on this earth. And that is pretty much everything for tonight's presentation. I'm going to go ahead and cut the recording, but if you have questions about how to uncover and nail your niche for the last time, or if you want to go through this with me, I would love to invite you for a 20-minute clarity coaching session where we can just dive in with no pitch. I will just help you go through this framework and make sure that you get a clear example for setting up your niche so that you can nail it for the last time. Stop worrying about it. I so wish I would have figured this out earlier than 2 years into my business. So I will put a link in the chat and also below this if you're watching the replay. If you would like to dive in and do a free 20-minute coaching session with me and really uncover and nail this niche thing for the last time, I would love to help you with this. No pitch, no expectations. I just want to help you get clear on what your niche is so that you can move forward and start creating a revenue generating business. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining tonight. Again, my name is Darlene Holly, and you can learn more at darleneholly.com. But send me a DM, let me know what questions you have, and I will help you make sure you get all of your questions answered.